Hey guys, Ace is here from NetPlayMarketing.com, and in today's video I want to talk to you about the three-step process to finding your ideal customer. Welcome back, guys. So in today's video I want to talk to you about the three-step process to finding your ideal customer. So before I can really get into the three-step process, I want to talk to you a little bit about why it's so important for you to understand who your ideal customer is. Especially nowadays when you're working online, I'm sure you can agree that we get bombarded with advertisements left, right, and center. Right? It doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Twitter. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to get some sort of advertisement, hitting you at some point in the day. So it's super important for you to be able to understand who your ideal customer is, because if you don't understand who your ideal customer is, then it's hard for you to be able to gear your content that you're creating, your advertising, your blog content, and all that stuff. It's hard for you to be able to gear that towards anybody if you don't know who it is that you're actually advertising to. So it's super important for you to take the time to really understand who your audience is and be very specific, right? Because the more specific you can get, the better your results are going to be, and the better that you're going to be able to follow this process so that you can get those results. So the first step that I want to talk to you about is really finding who your ideal audience is. So let's say, for example, you owned a pet store. So if you owned a pet store, obviously as a pet store, you probably carry a variety of products for a variety of different animals. You may have products for dogs, for cats, for birds, for hamsters, for snakes, for spiders, I don't know, right? But you want to be very specific in terms of the audience that you want to advertise to. So for example, if you just advertise pet store, right, it's very generic and you might not get the greatest results, right? Especially if you're talking about online. It's not going to appeal to anybody very specifically. You might get some results, but if you're advertising in the right place, which is kind of the next step, but unless it's very specific to a specific audience, you might not get the best results. Now, let's say if you were specifically targeting a dog audience, then you can actually create a ad campaign that revolves just around dogs, right? And maybe something that kind of stands out and something that will appeal to a dog owner, right? So let's say like natural organic food for your furry little friend, right? And show a picture of like a dog or something like that, right? That's something that's going to specifically target a member of your audience who A, owns a dog, B, it cares about what they eat, right? And maybe someone who actually cares about wants to feed their dog organic food, right? So it kind of appeals to a very specific audience. And so if that directly, hits or triggers somebody who sees that advertising, right, they'll be like, oh, cool. And especially if you have like a promotion or something that's going to capture their attention, like 50% off this organic food, right, for example, they're going to be like, oh, that seems like a pretty good deal, and they're going to click on it, all right? And so you really need to be able to understand who you're advertising to, and that's step one. Now, step two. Step two is really figuring out where your audience hangs out, online. Now, there's a variety of different places that people can hang out, and a good way to be able to find them is if you literally look for the keyword that you're looking for. So now specifically, let's say in this example, if you know that you want to advertise to dog owners or cat owners or hamster owners, whatever, type that in, right? Type in like cat or dog forum, right? Or cat or dog show, cat or dog, just maybe website in general, and see what things populate, right? For you on Google, right? I think something like a dog show or a cat show website would be an amazing place for you to be able to advertise in this example, just because it obviously appeals to your audience, right? It's going to be very specific, and people who are entering their dogs in dog shows or people who are going to a dog show website are probably very, very caring about their dogs, and they'll probably want to feed them the best products. And if you have a really great product, there's an easy way for you to be able to advertise to them, right? So hopefully this is all starting to make sense a little bit for you. So it's very important for you to be able to figure out where these people hang out, and that's a good way to do it. Another way that you can do it is using social media, right? So if you go on Facebook, you can find, I'm sure, just thousands of groups that revolve around pets. People love their pets, so we can look up dog Facebook groups, cat Facebook groups, hamster Facebook groups, or just pet groups, right, in specific. Look at the audience, the amount of audience that they have, the engagement they have, what kind of content they're posting, right, and then based on that, you can select the specific groups that you might want to trigger, right, or target. Because then on Facebook, you can be very specific in the way that you target, and you can maybe target the audience that belongs to that Facebook group, right? And so it would be a great way, again, for you to be able to advertise your products or your store in front of that audience, right? So when you find the right audience, it'll make your advertising so much easier. So that's step two, figure out where your audience hangs out. And then the last step that you really want to figure out is how do you get their attention, right? So the last thing is, how do you really drive somebody from doing what they normally do. So, for example, if they're on Facebook and they're part of these groups, maybe they're watching silly, dog videos, or they're watching silly cat videos, or maybe if they're on a dog show website, they're looking at specific criteria about how to enter their dog into a dog show or something like that. They're obviously there for a reason, right? And so you want to be able to set your advertising in a way that appeals to them and brings them back to your website. So, like I gave you as an example already, right? And let's say an example of you giving a really great offer, like say 25% off organic food for your furry friend, and you have a picture there of a dog, right? That might appeal to somebody, right? Because first off, you're giving them a great discount, 25% off, right? For organic food, for someone who cares about their dog and wants to feed them organic food, they're going to be like, that's a really good deal, because organic food is generally more expensive, I think, right? And so if you give them a really great deal, they might be interested in being like, hey, I might check that out. And so they may click on that ad because A, you're giving them a great deal. 2, it appeals to them particularly, right? Taking care of their dog, feeding them right food, and it's specifically for a dog, right? So putting all those criteria together in terms of these 3-step process, then you might get somebody to click on your website and take them away from what they're doing, because it will directly correlate to them wanting to take care of their dog or their pet, right? So that's basically a 3-step process that you kind of want to follow to make sure that you're getting, first off, finding your ideal customer. And once you find your ideal customer, they can become a repeat customer, right? So again, let's follow the 3 steps again. So first off, understanding who it is you're advertising to. Step 2, finding out where they hang out and doing a little research so that way you can figure out where it is that you're going to market. And then lastly, figuring out a marketing campaign in terms of how you can grab their attention and bring them back to your website. Once you've figured all those 3 steps out, guys, and believe me, it's a lot easier than you think, right? You're going to be able to get those people to your website and ideally get yourself some new customers. So I hope you found the value in this video, guys. I really hope you guys are using this process. And if you like it, leave some comments for me below. Let me know about any content that you'd like for me to talk about in the future. And until next time, this is Get Out There and have some fun.
You can get more online marketing and training tips at netplaymarketing.com. While you're there, make sure to request access to the NetPlay Marketing Facebook Mastermind group, where you will be able to connect and network with other like-minded entrepreneurs. Find out what's working online right now and get any of your questions answered on how to best grow your business.